the street screaming. What do I do, or is that just a part of urban living?
No, I'd call. Most of those clubs, in fact, the one there I know has off-duty working there. The situation becomes that all the people come out at once and you have one or two off-duty officers. He can't take on, 100 people walking out of the club at once that are intoxicated. So you try to watch to make sure nobody's doing, you limit your activities to what you can get involved in on a level of seriousness, you know what I mean? And the rowdy and the yelling and all, you kind of let that go because you're waiting for the guy's going to pull a knife on this one or argue with this one because he looked at this one's girlfriend or he's mad at this one's date.
Or the drunk guy is going to stagger out in the middle of New York Avenue and become
Right.
a bumper.
But I would call because that will generate is officers on the beat will now have to respond down there and that'll give him some more support. And the best we can do is move him on and get him out as quick as we can.
Yeah. Additionally, Metropolitan Police Department assigns their resources partially on calls for service. So if it's a continuous problem, it's definitely worth continuing to call because at some point there's going to be an evaluation based on calls for service, and when they're drawing up boundaries for patrol areas, they're going to look and say, well, we got 80 calls for service from this one block. Maybe that area needs a couple extra officers working during, to be assigned there. Now, obviously, I don't make those decisions; those are made well above my head. But it's definitely something to keep in mind that, again, part of our boundaries when they do. Every time they redistrict and reassign patrol service areas and police district boundaries, they base part of it on calls for service as well as other crime trends.
Are you talking about Lux Lounge?
That's
Pretty much,
I'm sure
generally.
that's one of them, but.
Well, okay,
yeah.
they pay for extra,
Right. Off-duty.
Metropolitan, and they have up to 4 officers there at all times. It's not like it's crazy.
But I think when they make it over to 6 and M, because they park
Correct.
there because
They're
they can't get
walking.
close,
Down
and
by
they walk back.
down by
Problem.
down by
They
Casablanca.
cross the way.
Yeah.
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 So they have-
American.
You didn't do all this to 3D. How come you didn't hold 3D up for this?
Because we love you.
We'll have to come over.
Because we haven't had the
guys can
opportunity
come.
to see anyone from 1D in a while, so
That
we
guy
got
did
it piled up. Yes.
No, the Robert you mentioned, that was on the first, at 7/17 was when
Radio Shack.
you,
But that was
that
for
was
3D.
1600, yeah.
You're for 1600.
1600 7th Street.
Yeah,
Well, I'll follow up.
That was for Sergeant
Sergeant
Ehrlich.
Ehrlich about that.
Oh, okay.
That damn 3D.
Can you just tell me when does the PSA, when does 103 meet?
103 meets at it's the second Thursday of second Thursday of each month at 6:30 p.m. inside of 1050 New Jersey Avenue,
That's
Northwest.
Golden Rule?
The Golden Rule. If the easiest way to get in, I know because it's a lockout building, senior building, but if you go into the back to the parking lot alongside, and there's a little courtyard in the back. There's a set of double metal doors just inside the courtyard. Just come knock on the door, and somebody will usually let you in. Or you can try and knock at the front door, and there's usually some of the seniors, if you tell them you're there for the meeting, most of the time. But the seniors are a little cautious there because they've had some incidents of people following them in, usually later at night. But the seniors are obviously concerned about people following them into the building. So, they may be a little hesitant, even if so. Like I said, I recommend people, if you go around, if you're facing the front of the building, walk around to the parking lot, which is off to the right side. Just walk to the back of the building, and then there's a little courtyard with a gate. Just walk through the gate, and on the left-hand side is a set of double doors.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Look forward
folks.
to
Hopefully
seeing you
we'll
again
see
next
you
month.
All right.
And thank you for your service and for keeping all of us safe. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. This is a request for support for a special exemption for a quick food service restaurant, name of Rito Loco at 606 Florida Avenue Northwest. This is in Commissioner Chapel's single-member district.
Okay, so this application had been through the zoning committee when it was approved?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in light of that, I would move that ANC 60 support the zoning relief that is sought by, what's the name?
Local.
Rito Loco.
Yeah.
And ask for a second. And we communicate our support to the BZA.
I second the motion. Any discussion on the part of the commission? Yes.
I do, actually, because I would hope that when we have this type of discussion before, like how Kevin was not here, that for something like this, like a burrito guy, that the type of discussion that we had last month, I think, was not proper. And then, I'm not sure that you did not come to the Marge's meeting, correct?
I was not notified that the meeting was actually moving forward. I
So, I
got
mean,
a
I'm just
request.
trying to say for like this level of a burrito guy, you know, for what he wanted, that it was something that didn't have to go on to this meeting. I mean, I just feel strongly about that, so.
The zoning change has potential negative repercussions to adjacent property owners and residents, and in order to be able to ensure that the residents that were in proximity to this particular location, since the applicant had not indicated to Commissioner Chapel that there was any zoning relief that was being requested, and he was out of the country, that's why we took the action of tabling this so that the committee could hear it, and that Commissioner Chapel could go to his constituents and find out if there were any concerns.
Did you go
So
to
then we've gone through this process.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Alex said, that when I asked that Rito Loco be placed on the agenda, they informed me that they just wanted to introduce themselves and to provide sample of their food to the public. They did not say anything about wanting zoning relief from the commission. The first I heard of it was the day I returned to the country, and the meeting was going forward. I could not attend. I was dead tired, and I didn't know anything about it. I was informed by Alex that tabling it for the next meeting would not have any adverse effect on them. And I thought that was the best way to go forward, since I'd never heard that they wanted anything from the commission. They never discussed that with me when I talked with them, which I think they should have. And maybe that whole incident that happened at the last meeting could have been avoided.
Well, nonetheless, the commission was able to hear directly from the applicant at the last meeting, had a number of questions asked, and the audience and the commission got to enjoy the products that they're going to be offering in the near future. So my understanding is that they're hoping to open by late spring or early summer of this year. So we have a motion before us that's been properly seconded. Unless there are any further questions, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is that unanimous?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the 8th and O Street development. The Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development has issued a request for proposals for the disposition of that lot. That is a parking lot currently that is shared by Scripture Cathedral and Immaculate Conception Church. And my understanding is that Monsignor Watkins, the pastor, would like to address the commission related to this upcoming development, and that you may have a request of the commission.
Thank you, Alex. Really, what we've done is, since 1997, so you all kind of briefly know the history, Immaculate Conception Church agreed to give up its parking lot and playground, which is now the north end of the convention center, to the Convention Center Authority, so that they could build the convention center, with the understanding that we might be given first right for purchase eventually of parcel 23, the equivalent amount of space that we gave up for parking and playground, which is 8th and O. That was 1997. RLA was in charge in those days. That morphed into NCRC. You know the history, and a lot of confusion. Finally, we prevailed on the district, Victor Hoskins' office, and we now have this RFP that's going out, and I understand there's a meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the Kennedy Recreation Center to discuss this with potential bidders and just to begin to vet this in the public. What we're asking for is 25 parking spaces and a recreation facility to be incorporated into whatever is developed there down the road, so that we get at least the fair share for what we gave up in cooperation with the district and the Convention Center Authority. So we don't want the deed, we just simply want a fair share of what we gave up. The value of that property, of course, is very, very lucrative now. So we could not purchase it, obviously, as a church, but we do want the parking secured. Because without parking and without the recreation center, our mission to our parishioners and our school facility, which is now a charter school, but still property owned by the church, would suffer terribly.
So this site is currently in Commissioner Wiggins' single-member district. Do you have any questions that you'd like to pose to Monsignor Watkins, or any
Actually,
recommendation?
Monsignor Watkins have already met, I've already been briefed about the situation at 8th and O. and I concurred that he should receive 25 spaces. The city's already concurred and included those 25 spaces in the RFP, even though it hasn't gone out yet, but that's been included in the RFP that Immaculate Conception receive at least 25 spaces for the parish and for the school next door. So I am in agreement with it.
Okay, so there's no action that you're asking the commission to take. You're advising us of this latest development in this long-standing, series of concerns related to the church, the property that was sold by the Archdiocese for the construction of the convention center, and the need to, shall we say, make the situation right
Sure.
with the ultimate development. So, right, are there any questions by any members of the commission for Monsignor Watkins about this issue?
I would just like to say that I certainly support you getting your 25 parking. As a former teacher at Immaculate Conception, I was there in the 70s. I was a first grade teacher there. My first job in Washington, D.C., I was flabbergasted by what was around us, but there was never any parking, and there was no place for people who were coming to the school or even coming to the parish to be able to comfortably get in and have a place to park. So you have my support on that. I will certainly write a letter for you.
And obviously, parking is one of those issues that in any revitalizing community is a challenging one to try to manage. So I'm very grateful to hear that the Deputy Mayor's Office has recognized the challenges that the church faces and has come up with a solution that you find acceptable.
Thank you.
So, any questions for Monsignor Watkins from the audience? Thank you, Monsignor. And we look forward to the 150th celebration. Anything that you want to share with us about that coming up in May?
Yes, this is our 150th anniversary this year. Immaculate Conception was built in 1864, and we are celebrating the 150th. And maybe at some future meeting, we could propose to discuss our block party, which is something we'd like to do to celebrate for the community, for ourselves, and to welcome new people and the old as well in the Shaw community between 7th and 9th Street on N, Saturday, May 17th of this year from 12 noon to 4 p.m. Perhaps we could put that on the agenda for another meeting.
We look forward to hearing from you about that and to being of whatever assistance we can offer.
Thank you. And then just because I have to leave, just if you ever want to use for ANC meetings, our school auditorium, I know we've done that before with Blagden, we've done it with Shaw, so happy to host that. If you're looking for a venue to host in our 150th, we're happy to host that for future meeting space.
Thank you for the generous offer. I believe that we're not going to take any action, but did you want to provide any updates related to Fifth and I, Commissioner Mesita?
Yeah, I think that's why some people are here tonight. For those of you who have come out this evening for an update on the Fifth and I situation, I was told by Deputy Mayor's office that this evening we were supposed to finalize pros and cons for each of the 4 proposals that are finalists in the development of that particular corner. There are handouts. If you haven't gotten one, please help yourself, because it is important for everyone to know exactly what's out there. Corner of Fifth and I is also Fifth in Massachusetts. Those of you who know the area, it is presently a parking lot, and it has been for a couple of years. We're all commissioners are supposed to give any comments that they have, so that we can send it to DEMPET. Then the comments would go out to each of the developers so that they can include some of the information in their best and final offer to the city. Let me begin by stating that the very beginning of this process, the community wanted the parcel to be a park with a dog area, as well as a playground area, and places for seniors to sit and enjoy the view. We were told by DEMPET that this was not going to bring any money to the city, and it was off the table. So unfortunately, that would have been the major choice for a lot of people, but we did move on, and some of the comments and some of the information that I received recently is a group of people in the neighborhood who would really like to see the entire project that is out there scrapped and a park put in, because this is the only piece of land that is owned by the city in Mount Vernon Triangle. And if this gets developed into buildings and whatever, the likelihood is a park will not become a major piece of the Mount Vernon Triangle. The process by city officials was off to a very slow start after the pulling of the contract from the previous awardee. The RFEI went out more than 10 months ago, and it was supposed to have been completed and the award given by the end of 2013. Needless to say, the city was unable to complete their job as outlined in their written requirement, which, you know, you can chuckle or, you know, that's what it's meant for. You know, they're out, they always, you have to have it by this date, we need a letter by this date, but they don't have to meet any dates, which is kind of annoying and unsettling for the people who are bidding and trying to meet the requirements to qualify them for this award. The fact that 10 developers showed an interest in the, is absolutely amazing to me. The fact that reducing the number to a short list was apparently extremely difficult for the city. Most of the developers worked with me to incorporate what the community wanted, community amenities, and it was really gratifying and showed that the developers really cared about what they were asking and what they would like to put in to the community without making it another tourist area. So that being said, I have attached, by the way, the comments for the people who want a park onto the back of the information, so you have it. Today is the deadline for comments for the city. So I'm going to say that no matter who is awarded the contract, the first thing the community wants is $2.5 million put in an escrow account for park, playground, dog park amenities, no matter who gets the award. We recognize that there's going to be problems and issues with some of the proposals and how the timeline that will pass in order to make this happen. One of those problems is the fact that the National Park Service could always renege on the letters, and being federal government could turn around and say, no, we really don't want to let you use these parks, or we're not going to let you develop them as you see fit, and that's a possibility that we are concerned and worried about. The fact that the transfer of the land from National Park Service to city government to the developer, I hope I'm still alive when that all takes place, because I know that federal government can they just take their time, and we know for a fact city government's even worse. Some of the developers have gotten letters of intent from National Park Service, and I truly appreciate, but I'm a little skeptical as well. So please don't think I'm negating your proposal. I am just stating that we know for a fact, living in this area, things change rapidly, and no matter what you've proposed, things could change. And that's the real reason we'd like that money put into an escrow account. We also want to make sure that those folks who have talked about putting in a dog park know and understand we expect you to get something in writing from the city that says that they will honor a dog park even though the city requires 10,000 square feet is now the new rule of how big a piece of ground you need for a dog park. And some of this has been going on for a while before this regulation went into effect. So we'd like those people to, those developers to make sure they get a good permission that no matter what the size is that they've anticipated for their dog park, that they have in writing from the city that they will not have a fight over putting that in. Going to individual proposals, the first one I'm going to respond to is the Peebles proposal. And I will tell you, these are the comments from most people that we heard from. We are not interested in a low-income housing building being erected in Anacostia. We are only interested in our neighborhood. A resident did bring to your attention that putting 100 low-income housing units together was simply building another public housing project, and we already know that that leads to failure. One just needs to look at some of the public housing around the city to realize this. As you did not submit a plan that included park, play development, or even ask the community what is essential to us, that is retail, that should be considered, your proposal disappointed the community. Many like the concept of hotel condo, but were uncomfortable with problems that will arise, such as the increase in crime, purse snatching, robberies, and the like, major traffic congestion at an already difficult intersection, and the fact that within a small area there are at least 5, 6 other hotels either open or under construction. People who knew of the Standard Hotel name liked the quality and concept of that chain. We also feel that with another hotel in the area, restaurants will raise prices and no longer be neighborhood establishments, knowing hotel people will pay higher prices. The community objected to having to pay for the use of a meeting room and not having a designated space for community use. Training for hospitality students is a great idea, but how will that be accomplished in a luxury hotel? On the Moody JBG proposal, you definitely took the community wishes to heart, and the retail that you propose is just what the community wants, an organic market and the return of our beloved bicycle space. Not much was said about the funds for the Streetscape grant and how the community would be involved in having a representative to that program. We would like to see some, if not all, of the permanent positions designated to be for local 6E workers, residents. We recognize that you were the first to approach National Park Service and got a letter of intent, as well as green space on the site. We look forward to how the transfer of the land will be done and how quickly these items can be agreed upon. We would also like a maintenance agreement with Mount Vernon Square SID for the community's protection, and that's for maintenance of the parks. We thought a community room or meeting space would have or should have been included. CSG Trammell. You took time to meet with the community representation, and your proposal showed just that. The fact that you not only live in this community but have your offices in this community certainly makes you a front runner in my book. Including a daycare and taking on the park, play, dog-friendly area is impressive. But to the community, incorporating a multifaceted use of the center to hold creative art programs for all members of the community, young and old, is just what the doctor ordered. Having said that, there are some problems. To the small dog park, we would like guarantee that the city will approve that little piece of land to be a dog park without meeting other requirements. And the fact that the dog site is going to be on the edge of a major building site, we would like to see that issue addressed. Are we going to have to wait until that building is completed before the dog park goes in? Or can some arrangement be made so that it will be developed and we won't have to wait for that long 2-3 years of construction from the Bible Way project? Many of the residents were very happy that the YMCA would be your choice, as it is well equipped to offer services at a reasonable price. Before offering $1 million to Housing Protection Fund, we would suggest that you check the status of the new legislation that will change ownership requirements for ADU unit owners through Anita Bond's office. We don't want you to put $1 million into an account with them and you will lose your money if it's not carefully written, and they are talking about retro people who are already owners and are under contract. So we would like you to make sure you don't lose your dollars. Under the Anchorage Jefferson proposal, your proposal certainly showed your dedication to what the community wants, and we applaud you. You have practically included all of the community's wish list: a daycare, community space for meetings and programs, and retail. The community loves the weekend market idea, kind of like a small Eastern market, and feels that after 3 dismal failures, we would look forward to having such a feature in our neighborhood. We are concerned about the large number of parking spaces, since 40% of the people here do not own cars, and we want to encourage use of metro and other public transportation as a way to get around. In general, the community is not as much interested in what goes on floors 2 through 12. The community is really asking for each developer to address what ground floor retail will allow locals to shop in their own neighborhood. A pet store, bakery, card or gift shop. I said Hallmark, but somebody said, you can't say that. But you know what I mean. And we'll also draw from the offices to support it. Restaurants are popping up all over, and we're now looking for other business suggestions like clothing stores, a toy and game shop, and of course our much-loved bicycle space. On our Triangle blog, 2 comments supported the hotel and 2 supported the office space. The building 555 Mass was very interested in ground floor retail and the parks. City Vista was interested in the parks and amenities for children as well as elderly. For families that want to stay in this neighborhood, having a daycare option was commented on positively, as well as having the creative arts program. The people above New York Ave seemed only interested in having a building with restaurants, not a park. But they have parks in their area already. Traffic concerns were spoken about by nearly everyone. Construction concerns where precious street parking would be taken away for 2 years, and pedestrian walkways a nightmare as they are in other MVT locations, are also of concern. So these were all the comments across the board that I got for each of the proposals. At this point, commissioners, I know you have read or looked at the presentation in video form. I'm hoping that you all have some comments that you're willing to share.
I'll say, March, I'm behind you with that whole, the park service, the 2 parks that, there's a major concern that, these parks are promised to us, so quote unquote, but as Marge stated, that for the process to occur in a reasonable amount of time, or even to occur at all, we don't know what's going to happen. So that's a concern. That's a major part for some of these proposals. So we hope that, they work with the Park Service and something can get done. But there's some doubts with a lot of members of the community, that's for sure.
Other questions or comments on the part of members of the commission? Well, I'll take a moment. In talking to some of the folks that I know in that area, and from my perspective in the development field, I would say that the non-residential projects are the ones that are the most attractive, from my perspective, especially the office building. I would say the hotel, would come in second, and as you noted, there are a number of issues related to the hotel that make it less attractive than an office building. An office building provides additional foot traffic during the day that will help to sustain those neighborhood businesses that are very much desired by the residents in that area. I believe that we would be well served to edit down this document. It's quite long and quite detailed. I think that if we do an executive summary and then attach the full document that you have here, I think that
This is just for our information. This is not the letter of.
But would you like to include it with our correspondence to DEMPET?
We can, and I'm happy to do that, and I'm happy to cut down They did ask for all the comments, and so I wanted to make sure that everybody who gave a comment about a particular proposal was included and make sure that their voices are heard. We are not voting on this tonight. We will be
Correct.
voting on this next month.
But we would vote to transmit our initial observations
Correct.
and suggestions so that it comes from the commission rather than just from a commissioner and would be given great weight, or should be given great weight, coming from
That
the
is
commission.
correct.
So, I'm very gratified, as are you, Commissioner Mercida, that all of the proponents of development for this site took to heart the fact that this neighborhood that has seen such incredible development in such a short period of time is starved of green space and starved of recreation space, and that they appropriately tried to find solutions. And I do believe that, as one of the proponents of the first dog park in the city, that is an amenity that is incredibly popular, and would be one of the cornerstones of any amenities package associated with the development. So I also support you from that perspective. So having said that, I believe that the commission would entertain a few comments from the audience, if there are any, so that we perhaps could add to what already has been very laboriously put together by Commissioner Mercida, if there are any. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to submit an edited version of the Fifth and I proposal information document that Commissioner Mercida has prepared, incorporating the additional comments made by commissioners this evening, and that we submitted to the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development and Mayor Gray. And I would ask for a second. I'm sorry, I should have let you do that,
No, that's
that
okay.
motion, but
That's okay. This letter has to be in their hands by 17 January.
yeah,
Okay,
I will work with you to make sure that it gets done.
okay.
So, was that a second?
Sure.
Okay. Further discussion on the part of the commission, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Just as a point of interest, Mount Vernon